Okay, and we are live. Sorry about the late start. Welcome to the Humford Show, where you can get ideas to help you grow your eco-conscious business. And today I'm joined by Lesley Waldron, talking about living wildly well through perimenopause. So welcome, Lesley. Great to have you on the show.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you. And Lesley is an integrative women's health coach specializing in empowering people to live wildly well through their perimenopause transition. So maybe just to start off, a quick overview between perimenopause and menopause.
Yeah, so menopause is actually one day, 12 months after your last menstrual period. So after that one day, you are postmenopausal. But before that, and for some women, you can start to feel the impact of changing hormone levels. You are perimenopausal. Now, and that perimenopause is the experience of our bodies and minds of the withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone, which are two key hormones that are produced by our ovaries every month. And that as we go through perimenopause, as we go towards menopause, we do not necessarily ovulate every month. And therefore, we have lowering levels of both estrogen and progesterone, which means that what we're experiencing in our bodies and minds is a kind of a withdrawal of those hormones. And perimenopause is used to describe that period that can start for some women in their late 30s, but generally the kind of more intense experience of that, and this is a generalization, is from kind of mid 40s onwards.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. And how can lifestyle changes help or hinder one's perimenopause experience then? Are there things people can do?
Absolutely. So if you think about that withdrawal of hormones, what we want to do is help our bodies readjust to the balance, to adjust to helping ourselves with our lifestyle behaviors, not just through perimenopause, but actually beyond. Because in creating positive lifestyle habits in perimenopause will shore us up for the long-term well-being. We lose the protective benefits of estrogen and progesterone for our heart, our bones, and our brains. So making lifestyle behaviors change is really important. And so there are things that can exacerbate both the impact of that withdrawal and some of our symptoms that we might want to think about cutting down or cutting out. Things like sugar, and caffeine can exacerbate anxiety and hot flushes. Alcohol often interferes with sleep. And stress we can have a much bigger impact, feel much more sensitive to stress in perimenopause and postmenopausally, because our body ends up prioritizing the production of cortisol, the stress hormone, over the production of estrogen and progesterone, which means we've got less of those kind of supportive hormones anyway. So modulating stress is really important. Exercise is really beneficial for us, but doing long, intense workouts and lots of cardio can actually be quite depleting. So we still need to work. Lifting weights is really beneficial. Moving your body every day outside, thinking about good gut health, plenty of vegetables, whole foods, and managing your stress levels, your pelvic floor health, are all really beneficial. So messages that you might have received your whole life, they are really important for us in perimenopause. And for some women, supplements and HRT can be massively beneficial as well. That really depends on the individual.
Oh, fantastic. A really, really good overview and some good tips there. So, and I know you talk a lot about kind of nature and cycles and everything as well. How can understanding our own natural cycles optimize our well-being?
And when we're still menstruating, understand, and particularly in our perimenopausal years, but actually our whole menstruating life, staying tuned in to our menstrual cycle can be hugely beneficial. So tracking your well-being according to your energy levels in your cycle. So if you think of it as the seasons of the year, where winter is the week of your period, spring is when you're coming up towards ovulation, summer is ovulation, and autumn is that kind of downward movement towards towards menstruation again. And I think this is a really helpful way of thinking about our energy levels, and how you might think about nature in general. So how we might think about the seasons of the year, and what we even want to do, and what we see nature doing in the spring is completely different to the summer and the autumn, and definitely the winter. And tracking your menstrual cycle, so just allowing yourself to tune in on a daily basis. How do I feel today? Over the course of a month, and over the course of 3 or 4 months, you'd probably be able to see some patterns in your energy levels, in your any symptoms that you're experiencing. And also, if you start to take HRT or do some exercise or change your diet or take some supplements, you'd be able to see how well that tunes into how well that might be making an impact. But you won't be able to tell the impact unless you track it, I think. And I think also tracking your cycle can be really helpful. Tracking your menstrual cycle can be really helpful if you want to go to your GP or an alternative health practitioner or a menopause specialist for support. Then you kind of got evidence that you can show them about how your hormones are affecting you. And I think it helps us as women tune into the cycles of the year. We have our own inner seasons, and which is work that's talked about by Alexandra Pope and Shanye, I can't remember, Hudson, I think her last name is, in their book Wild Power, which I think is a really empowering read. But I love the idea of the seasons of our cycle tying into the seasons of our year, and that there is beauty in every season, even in November or in that week before our period, as long as we rest properly. So that's
really good. And I know you talk a lot kind of about fitness, and that's your background, isn't it? You were a personal trainer for many years. And what tips can you give to people to help create some sort of fitness habit that lasts? Because I think it's so important. And a lot of us, I know me, we're working sedentary jobs, sitting at a desk. It's important to get out, isn't it?
It is. And moving our bodies, I think there was a paper written by the Association of Royal Medical Colleges in 2015 that said exercise, the miracle cure. And I remember getting very excited about that report because it listed so many benefits and all of the research to prove it of exercise for a multitude of conditions. And that is just as true for women in perimenopause as for everyone around. But it can be hard to get started if you haven't done anything. Some of that will be to do with what your brain is telling you about exercise. Perhaps you've had negative experiences in the past. And some of it is because life feels too busy. So I always say, you look at your existing habits and see if you can build something on top of those. So if you've got a dog and you walk the dog, what else can you build into a dog walk, pre or per? If you make yourself a cup of coffee in the morning, could you do 10 squats before you have a cup of coffee? Could you add in a kitchen counter press up while you're waiting for the tea to brew? But those are small things. But the key thing, I think, for everyone is to try and get outside for a walk every day, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes, because you get the benefit of daylight, of being out in nature. Even if you're in a big city, you can find a tree or watch birds scuttling about for crumbs. And it's really, really powerful. So if you're not used to moving your body very much, to get out for that daily walk and then to find gradually maybe increase the amount of time or increase the number of times you go, you'll feel a difference in your body and mind as a result. And the other thing I ask people to look at is thinking about pleasure and joy in exercise, because so often it is associated with being punishing and hard and beast mode, and you've got to work so hard for the results that it almost feels like it's not worth it. How many people have bought gym memberships, gone to the gym 5 days in a row, and then hurt so much they haven't gone again for a month, or they've just given up altogether? So think about your past experiences of exercise and movement, whether it was team sports, whether it was adventures as a kid or as a young adult. How can you bring in some of that pleasure and joy? So, for example, team sports, is there a walking netball group you could join? Is there a walking football group you could join if you're not ready for running around? Is it that you translate that into a different kind of team or a different kind of sport? Is it you just need a walking group because walking with other people will be useful? Is it that you love dancing and nightclubs, and actually what you need is to find a dance fitness class? Find what fills you up, not what the media is telling you is the latest trend, but what is actually joyful and that you enjoy.
Fantastic. Some great tips there, definitely. And lastly, what is your top eco tip?
Okay, I'm going to squeeze two into this, if you don't mind, because the first one is a general one, which is about that I feel like we can really benefit both nature and ourselves as perimenopausal women, or postmenopausal women, by resting more and consuming less, by taking a breath in between the marketing for the latest anti-aging face cream, for example, or whatever the fitness fad is, or whatever we feel like we need, so that actually sometimes we're filling ourselves up or consuming or buying things to cheer ourselves up or fill a hole, but actually when what we need to do is rest and connect. So and connect to what we really need and want in life, which is very rarely a new handbag, but sometimes, you know. So, and is often about kind of good connection, a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, and making a contribution. But the other one I'd like to share is, if you are still menstruating, which can be hugely beneficial for the environment, is to think about switching to reusable menstrual products. I think I've been using moon cups and reusable pads, washable pads and washable period pants, which are new and brilliant, for the last 20 years. And I just think about the mountains of sanitary towels and tampons that haven't gone into landfill as a result. It's huge, and overall a massive cost saver as well. So it feels like a win-win. And we're equally not experiencing the chemicals in our body, which we become much more sensitive to in our 40s and beyond, from contact with bleached cottons, with synthetic materials of many different tampons and pads nowadays, pads particularly. And actually, it can often mean that it eases your flow and reduces cramps just by using natural products. So there's a win-win for the environment and for us. So I think that's an easy win, but sometimes takes a bit of a mindset change too.
Yeah, definitely. Some brilliant tips. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing both of those with us, because I think they're both really important. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. So you can find Lesley at wildcountrywoman.com. I know you also have a download on there. People can download from the homepage. So you'll see the button on the homepage. And you've also got a workshop coming up in September, haven't you?
That's right. On the 16th of September in the evening on Zoom. It's called What is the Perimenopause? And it's an empowered and positive approach to understanding your hormones and the steps that you can take towards achieving hormone balance, as well as where you might go for help. So it's a 90-minute workshop. It's £49, and there are prizes, because we've got to make it fun, right?
Yeah,
talk about hormones, we've got to make it fun. But yes, you can find out about that. So a lot of my health coaching work is on Lesley Waldron, which is Lesley, lesleywaldron.co.uk. And so you can find out about that. But equally, Wild Country Woman is the fitness arm of my business. So both have that information.
Brilliant. I'll share both of those links as well, and get the link for you from you for the workshop as well, because that sounds fantastic, and I think there'll be quite a lot of people interested in that. So thank you so much for joining us, Lesley. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Very welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And to all our viewers out there, if you're watching live or you're watching the replay later, please keep all your comments coming, your experience that you've had with perimenopause, any questions that you've got, and both Lesley and I will keep an eye out on that and respond to those. And we will see you again same time next week at 11 this time. Okay, take care.
Okay, goodbye.